Today, we're uncovering four of the biggest misconceptions in history. Stories you've probably heard, but they're not true at all. Let's dive in.
1. Neil Armstrong became a Muslim? You may have heard the story. Neil Armstrong, the first man on the moon, heard the Islamic call to prayer in space and converted to Islam. But the truth? This is a myth. Armstrong himself publicly denied it, and even the U.S. State Department released official statements in the 1980s clarifying that he never changed his religion. The rumor spread mainly in the Middle East and Asia, fueled by mistranslations and imagination. In reality, Armstrong remained a Christian throughout his life. A fascinating myth, but a myth nonetheless. 2. Did Vikings wear horned helmets? When you picture a Viking, you probably imagine a warrior with a horned helmet. But archaeology tells a different story. No Viking helmets with horns have ever been found. The image actually comes from 19th century opera costumes, especially Wagner's famous works. The only horned helmets discovered date back to the Bronze Age, over 1,000 years before the Viking era, and they were likely ceremonial. So Vikings never fought with horns on their heads. It's pure fantasy. 3. Was Einstein bad at math? Another common myth says Albert Einstein failed at math in school. Sounds ironic, right? The genius who reshaped physics, bad at math? But the truth is, Einstein excelled in mathematics from an early age. What he struggled with were subjects like languages and rigid school rules, not numbers. In fact, by the time he was a teenager, he had already mastered calculus. So Einstein was never bad at math. That's just a story people keep repeating. 4. Did medieval people think the earth was flat? We often imagine the Middle Ages as a time when people thought the earth was flat. But here's the twist. Educated people in the Middle Ages knew the earth was round. This knowledge came from ancient Greek science and was taught in medieval universities. The flat earth myth was actually invented much later, in the 19th century, to portray the Middle Ages as a dark and ignorant era. So no, medieval scholars didn't think they lived on a pancake-shaped planet. They knew better. Outro, these myths show us how powerful stories can be, even when they're not true. So which of these surprised you the most? And do you know of other myths we should expose? Share them in the comments, and let's keep uncovering the truth together.